How's it going, everybody? This is the Erroneous One here, the new Kingdom Hearts Union Cross video. Today we're going to be clarifying some stuff with the new KHIII Supernova KHIII Kairi. By the way, speaking of KHIII, we all know there were massive spoilers leaked online earlier. Some person who worked in the, I assume, the factory or like one of the manufacturing shipping things, they did get a hold of some copies for the Xbox, called the Xbone. I'm not a fan of Xbox, but they did get a hold of some copies of the game, legit copies of the game, like 30 plus of them, and they have been selling them, if not they haven't already sold them, online through Amazon and through eBay, or one or the other. I think it's both, but it could be either one or the other. I haven't really been looking too much into the area because I don't want to see anything, so for risk of seeing anything, I'm not sure exactly where it was sold at, but I know it was sold. The spoilers were posted online to confirm that the person who had the game did have the game indeed. It was a legit copy. It wasn't a fake thing. So it was used as proof to say, I do have this. Here you go. Irregardless, more and more spoilers are being leaked now. Apparently people who bought copies of the game from that person are apparently now posting spoilers online for big story points. They're showing more screenshots of the games and everything. So we've reached that point. If you guys follow my Twitter account, I have put some things on Twitter, or I just retweeted something that Endofan posted, showing you how to remove certain filters from your tweet timeline or your feed, so you can try to avoid spoilers as best as possible. But right now, the best thing I can say is do not look at anything KH3 related unless it's maybe from like legit sources like Square Enix or the official KH3 Twitter page, Facebook page, that kind of stuff. But even then, I wouldn't really look because people might post things in the comments before they get deleted. You might see something that might get spoiled for you. So it's best just to avoid that right now. So yeah, it's a very unfortunate turn of events. It's really disappointing that this has happened. And I'm sure the guy who's doing this is probably about to get all the lawyers from Disney and Square Enix dropping their heads like the wrath of God. So I'm pretty sure things will not be going good for that person in the future, in the near future anyway. But now that we covered that point, I do want to get in here because there was some confusion, and there has been confusion about Supernova KHIII Kairi and what she actually does overall. So let us get into this. Let's see. Sure. This is my right now. This is my raid setup, but we can run it here. So Kairi down here on our Supernova, 2 attacks, 15 turns, upright. Reverse and general attack and PSM strength is increased by 15. SP attack is increased by 200%. So that's interesting. And then targets negative 15 defense, negative 15 upright, negative 15 reverse, negative 15 PSM defense. Down. Does not affect the counter. Triggers reward slot 1 is activated. So the big thing on this one that people are asking about is she does not say overwrite. Like, Kairi doesn't overwrite. Her Supernova doesn't overwrite anything. Or her ability doesn't overwrite at all. So, there's been 2 levels of confusion. Number 1, you're right. Her general ability, right up here on top, this one up here, what she does basically without her Supernova activating, does not overwrite. That is to the good. As probably one of the better features for just reaching those maximum buff caps. To 15 overall for everything. The problem we had with some of the previous the Stained Glass 7, 8, and 9 and the Foreteller EX Plus medals, for instance, and even Kairi and Shion EX Plus, was they overwrote, which is a very, very useful mechanic because I'm pretty sure we're going to start seeing, I'm pretty sure in the future, to try and mitigate Kairi a little bit, we are going to see enemies that are going to start with maximum defensive buffs. You're going to see general defense plus 15, general PSM defense plus 15. I'm sure we're going to see stuff like that. I'm sure we're going to see attack plus 15 on some of these bosses pretty soon, which means the override ability will be very, very important in those kind of situations. For the time being, if you have EA on a Kairi medal, all this Kairi medal would do at that point in time would be to remove the it would basically set everything back to 0. Everything would be even. So you would have your buffs for sure. You'd be at plus 15, but the enemy would not have any of their debuffs, which would be a huge loss in damage, so on and so forth. To mitigate that, you would have to actually activate her supernova before she attacked or anything, because again, that overwrites. So it doesn't say it on the thing here, unfortunately, which is kind of a problem. I do see where the confusion came about that. But the second point of confusion, the first one again was her general special attack, right, does not overwrite, right. This does overwrite though, and the other part of confusion came from people saying it does not say that it overwrites. It's not really fully explained, kind of like the stained glass metals. The stained glass metals aren't really phrased in a way where you understand at first that they are overwrite metals. They do not add in there. They overwrite anything else. So I figure a visual demonstration is always for the best. It's how most of us operate best off this game. We've actually seen it in front of us. So we're going to go here and we're going to show you guys in front. And we'll do it twice here, and I'll show you guys what I mean here. So the first point, auto's off, good. So to the first point right here, all right, there's Kairi. There are her buffs and debuffs. So the enemy is now at -12, -7 for upright, -15, -12 for PSM. I am bumped up by 15 for PSM, 7 for upright, 15 for general attack, right? Maximum. Now, if she were to overwrite, then everything would stay the same. There would be no increase or decrease either way, right? So activating her again, says mine does have EA, which makes it good for this setup. There you go. Now I'm at times 14 for upright, times 16 for PSM, and the enemy is at times 15 for PSM, -14 for upright, and -15 for general strength. There it is, right there. So, as you guys can see, her abilities are there, straight up, do not overwrite. There is visual proof that they do not overwrite here. So her special attack is good. Now, when you activate her supernova, it does cast overwrite. For 2 attacks. 2 attacks. So right now, once again, we are at maximum everything. Maximum buffs for you, maximum debuffs for the enemy, right? So for the second attack, here is Vanitas. And there we go, guys. Look. All of a sudden, those buffs have changed. The only reason this enemy right now has any form of debuffs and I have any form of buffs is because of Riku. Vanitas copied Riku. Riku does do upright strength by 3, magic, PSM magic up by 7. Hang on, let's go again. I already lost count of this one. So, upright strength by 3, magic by 7, special attack by 80%. No general. Targets upright, magic defense -7, general defense -5. There you go, right? So as you can see here, I have 8 PSM, which is right, because you do get that PSM buffer from the pet slot. And upright times 3. I have no general attack up at all. All I have for general defense down is the 5 that Riku versus Roxas does give the enemies. So here you go, guys. Visual proof to try and clear this up. You have to be careful of where you're going to activate your Kairi. At least for the supernova. So the best parts to activate it are going to be literally right before your pet slot goes off, or if you're in a quest that lets you use a friend medal, then you need to activate it right after your pet slot and before your friend medal is activated. That way it can get all the buffs. Or you can do it at the very start. So basically you can supercharge your Kairi before she activates. She cannot activate just yet. You have to activate first and then she goes. Because otherwise you're going to lose out on some buffs there. Because if you do not have EA on your Kairi and you activate that supernova first, you're going to get that fully buff and debuff attributes for you for both upright and reverse for the supernova. And then Kairi will go off and do her buff things and everything, but at maximum abilities from the supernova. But once that's over, you're back to having 0. You will have no buffs, the enemies will have no debuffs because the overwrite goes away. So keep that in mind when you do this. So you need to pick where you're going to activate that supernova very, very importantly. For most general setups, for the most part, the best spot to activate it will be right here before your pet slot goes off, or if you have if you have a shared medal, then before your allies medal goes off. Those are generally the best spots to actually activate her. But I wanted to go through and show that off to you guys. People did have some questions about that going through. So, I mean, hopefully this will be a little more clear for players, like, you know, just understanding, like, hey, this is how this actually works. And we will kind of go from there. If you guys have any more questions or anything, feel free to ask me in the comments. Come by my Discord. I will try to answer questions there as well. But I think this covered it pretty much, you know, how this Kairi actually operates. The only other aspect, or the only caveat to this one, and this is actually kind of important, is for PvP. Kairi is kind of doing... Kairi is causing damage to people who are running status setups for PvP. Many people relied on status setups for advancing in the game. You know, to make up for the lack of like not having like the best medals or not having like, you know, really damaging medals with like good traits or anything. People have been using status setups to great effect when climbing ranks. But Kairi Supernova. So I'm gonna go here. Where is it at? No, it's not here. It's up here, right? There you go. Cures all ailments. So this is very interesting in terms of how her Isuna is actually used. So it's not used in the Supernova. If it was used in the Supernova, then status setups would not work at all whatsoever. It would be a done deal because she activates before slot 1. But she does cure ailments as well, and some of the other Kairis did this too, but people tend to forget this one. But one of the plus sides to Kairi now with her is because of her Supernova. So, as a setup option, and I'll show you guys real quick too as well. Let's take the Fenrir, for instance. Yeah, here we go. Do I have anything? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, okay. Take this setup here, for instance, right? We can come over here, and we can actually put in Supernova Sephiroth right there. He has no EA, so this will be good. So put him right there, and then say put your Cloud here. Okay, or your any kind of metal that has your defense boost on it, basically your DB4, your DB6, whatever. Put them there, and then you come over here and you're gonna put your Kairi right there, and you're gonna be in a really, really, really good spot. Mainly because you will activate that Supernova. So when Supernova is activated, that first slot there, it is going to enhance your Sephiroth there. Now, I haven't seen this in play just yet, but from what I've heard, and feel free, because I'm using this based off some information I was given earlier, but I haven't confirmed it yet. If you are if you're inflicted by stats effects, Kairi Supernova activates before slot 1. There you go. Triggers before slot 1 is activated. Okay? Before slot 1. It's not saying slot 2, slot 3. Before slot 1 is activated is when her Supernova goes off when you are defending in PvP. So if you're attacked and afflicted with stats effects, her Supernova should go off and you're able to hit with your metal. Now, the tricky part in that regard comes into more into play of this works with attacking. Sorry, this right here is working with attacking. This setup right here. Put that Sephiroth there. Kairi activates first, and then you should be good to go. And then you still get your boss by putting her there. When you're defending, her Supernova will still activate, so you will still deal damage from her Supernova. The Isuna will not go off, so these guys are just going to tap. But for that one turn, he will tap. He will attack, and granted, obviously it won't be his maximum damage from a special attack going off because you're paralyzed or you're put to sleep, but you will still deal some damage. And sometimes just dealing a little bit of damage is what you need, because some status setups are geared only towards afflicting that status effect or that status ailment on you. And Kairi will remove that from you going forward too, also be put in slot 3. But if it's one of those setups where all they're trying to do is inflict you with stats effects, usually those ones aren't very strong. The other setup, like the second setup, tends to be the strong one that deals damage and also inflicts you with a status ailment. So it's all going to come down to, you know, what they're playing with, and you're still going to have to manage your Keyblades and your Keyblade order. But KHIII Kairi does put some wrinkles into the status setups as well too. They're still very viable, they're still very good, but you do have to... You do kind of have to work around a little harder and a little differently sometimes because of Kairi here. But as we all know, for the most part, pretty much putting your buffer on the third slot negates all status ailments. You're just losing out. Some people are saying like, well, you put it on the third slot, you're missing out on damage from slots 2 and slots 3, basically, which is true. But with her supernova going off, that first thing when you're being attacked, when you're defending, you do have the chance to deal some more damage than you might otherwise have, because you do have that buff going off. You have the full powered supernova going off, and of course the next metal, when it attacks, is going to deal some pretty harsh damage because it is fully buffed. The enemy is fully debuffed, and then the ability goes away. So you do kind of have to work around that. But that's pretty much all I want to talk about with this one. I think I covered everything on Kairi. But again, if I missed anything, feel free to let me know. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask them. If I got anything wrong there in terms of like the stat effects and everything, or you guys think I could have clarified that a little differently or worded it differently, let me know, and I'll be happy to spread the information around to everybody so we all are on the same page. But the main thing on this, I did want to get her supernova override ability. It is overwrite, and clear up her her regular special attack ability, which I think we did. So I'm in the video here, guys. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. See you.